Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Abby and I am a homeschooling mom of 5 kids. And today I'm gonna be sharing my own personal habits of a happy homeschool. So we are getting ready to start another school year right after Labor Day here. And as I've been reflecting on things this summer, things I want to keep, things I want to let go of, especially now that we only have a couple years left with my oldest kid, I just wanted to share with you the things that I personally found to be the happiest and most freeing habits that we have in our homeschool. I also asked my kids for their ideas of what some of their favorite memories are or things that we incorporate in our homeschool, and they all pretty much had the same answers, and most of them were similar to what I was thinking. So this is a collective effort. These are the 10 habits, that specific habits as well. I didn't want to be too abstract, like, you know, balance the low notes and the high notes. I wanted to give you guys the specific habits that we have in our homeschool that have kept things happy and smooth over the last 12 years or so. And maybe you guys will pick up on a couple of these and think, oh, that will fit in very well in our homeschool. So before I get started, I wanted to say thank you to today's video sponsor, Night Zookeeper. We've used Night Zookeeper for our younger kids for a long time, and they have a really good deal for you guys today.
Today's video is in partnership with Night Zookeeper. Night Zookeeper is an award-winning reading and writing program for children ages 6 through 12, and it's developed by experienced educators to improve reading and writing skills. Within Night Zookeeper, there are thousands of educational games, lessons, and resources, and as a parent, you get to follow your child's progress with your parent dashboard. With Night Zookeeper, children are inspired by their own creations, they draw their own magical characters, and they take them throughout the night zoo and develop and grow their creative writing skills. Since the foundation of all great writing is a broad and rich vocabulary, with the Night Zookeeper, your children will learn thousands of new words through exciting, personalized activities and games. And as they progress, they'll encounter sentence-building games, writing challenges, and tons more exciting activities that help them use all the new vocabulary words that they're learning and build more complex sentences. And then they get to put their learning into action by writing stories and poems and reports and various types of writing. And then that writing goes into a personal portfolio that can be shared with people, and they get great feedback on everything they write. So they're encouraged to improve on things, from receiving comments from the Night Zookeeper characters as well as their team of educators. My kids really look forward to Night Zookeeper. Right now I have my 6-year-old and my 10-year-old playing Night Zookeeper, and I just love how it goes by their age and their stage of writing that they're at right now. My younger daughter has more basic beginner level vocabulary, and then my older son is doing all sorts of vocabulary challenges and games, and he's doing longer writing, and then he gets great feedback where they encourage him to try something new, new vocabulary words. They work with him on punctuation and just the basics of writing, as well as giving him new challenges. So the feedback is highly effective for him. He loves getting that feedback, and it's just a fun and exciting way to learn some vocabulary and improve your writing. So if you would like to try Night Zookeeper today, you can get a 7-day free trial with 50% off your annual subscription as well. The link for that is in the description box down below. Thank you so much, Night Zookeeper, for working with me once again and partnering with me on today's video.
Thank you so much, Night Zookeeper, for partnering with me once again. Make sure you guys check the link out in my description box down below and take advantage of that deal. Okay, without further ado, here are the 10 specific things in our homeschool that I consider to be habits that have kept our homeschool happy over the years. So the very first one is rewards are fun. So I wrote all these down because I wanted to not forget them, but rewards are fun. I said, why not? Tickets, prize boxes, class stores, etc. So the older that my kids got and the less time that I realize I have with them in our homeschool, the more I realize that things do not have to be so serious all the time, and little things like a treasure box or ticket raffles or class stores, no matter how old your kids get, are fun and they're worth it, why not? Why not incorporate that? When else in their lives are they gonna get silly little erasers or vinyl stickers or little bubbles or Matchbox cars or what have you? And for what other reason, you know, would they receive those, especially being homeschooled? So that's something that we've continued to really enjoy in our home. I love being able to just give my kids those fun prizes or rewards or tickets or whatever system. There's so many systems out there. But the older they got, the more they enjoyed that. They actually did not pull away from that. My older kids are as competitive as my younger ones are with the treasure box. But also it's just really sweet and fun to look at my 15-year-old and be able to say, hey, you're doing a really good job. Here's a really fun sticker, or here's a little candy bar or whatever. I've never regretted giving them prizes in our homeschool. So I think it's really sweet and fun. Number 2, snacks. This is one that they all said. They were all like, snacks. So, and they mentioned a few things. Popcorn is a big favorite in our house. When in the afternoons, I always put out an afternoon snack. They all said they look forward to that. We've paired food up with habits for a long time. So read aloud snack is what I'll call it. You know, I'll put a snack out in the afternoon and that's when we do our read aloud, or muffins with a morning time, or even things like coffee or tea. Just taking the extra 2 minutes to boil some water and give the kids some tea when I'm sitting down with my coffee. It's just little things like that that are inviting around the school table. And so they all mentioned food. Okay, number 3 is protecting the daytime schedule and the weekly calendar. This is obviously something that I brought up and not my kids, but this is something that has kept me connected to our homeschool and enjoying it without too much on my mind. So what I mean by that daily protection of our schedule is that even my husband knows that, you know, everyone knows in my family. My dad, who will call me at all times of the day, not really, I wish he would call me more. I should call him more too. But, you know, he lives a mile away, so we're in constant communication. My sister and I text all the time. My aunt always wants to grab lunch when she's in town, things like that. I have to protect our schedule, specifically from the hours of like 9 to 3, 10 to 2, those like nitty-gritty hours. And then I have to be in the habit of not making plans at that time, thinking it's okay, we homeschool. Because it is okay, you homeschool, right? If you want to go to the grocery store at noon on a Wednesday because it's a better time, by all means do that. But for me and my heart, I get really overwhelmed if I have too much going on in my day and I don't get to connect as much with our homeschool. And so I've even asked, like I said, my husband, like, unless it's like an emergency or, you know, something that you really need my help with, then I really do not want to have too many things happening during the day. The other day we decided to meet with our pastor at lunchtime, had like a lunch meeting. That makes sense. We thought about it ahead of time. I planned it. Things like that make sense to me, but things that are just like, you know, casual check-ins and stuff like that, my family knows in general to just help me keep that time special with my kids, and then I know to not overload my schedule. And then as far as weekly schedule goes, what I mean for that is I set aside certain weeks on our calendar for all the planned appointments. We have dentist appointments, I have dermatology appointment on a week that I have planned for my younger kids to be off school. My older ones still have independent work that they're working on. Those are the weeks where I can work on big closet cleanouts or go to lunch with someone or make additional plans. But I set that in stone at the beginning of our school year. Of course people get sick, of course people have to get stitches, whatever. You can't plan that, but in general, all those appointments, dentist times 5, that's a whole day or 2 days sometimes. So things like that I try to really protect in our schedule, and that just helps me stay focused. Another thing that was really popular at the beginning of our homeschooling time, when we first started homeschooling, was the book Teaching from Rest came out by Sarah Mackenzie. That came out within the first 5 years of our homeschooling, when I was still reading all the things and listening to all the things and watching all the things. And so the idea of a Just Because You Can Day was gaining popularity around that time. So on top of Poetry Tea Time, which was also gaining popularity, and Just Because You Can days, and all these other things that I thought I needed to do in order to be a good homeschooling mom, came out, I was trying to balance all of that, and it was a little stressful for me to try to keep school and all these extra things added in. Now that we have a wide age range of kids, those just because you can days are not honestly the most realistic, because there's hardly something that my 6-7-year-old and my 13 and 15-year-old wants to do at the same time that would be worth taking a whole day off of our studies. Although if it's something like going to Disney World, of course they would like that. But instead of the just because you can days being outings or events, something that I enjoy is kind of combining poetry tea time with the idea of a just because you can day and making it like a monthly family celebration. And so our version of a just because you can day is doing some kind of fun holiday celebration, doing a craft together, watching a fun movie, having a fun fall snack, like that's the one I'm planning right now, reading some funny books or riddles, doing puzzles, games. That's our version of a just because you can day mixed with like a poetry tea time. But just that's in general like a field trip that you really want to go on that just sounds fun, that has nothing to do with your studies, things like that. My kids remember, and specifically the class parties, like I'm saying, like the fun seasonal celebrations, those are their favorite memories. That's one of the things they brought up. Number 5 is quiet time. Almost every one of my kids brought that up as one of their favorite parts of our school day, or in memories, you know, some of their favorite memories. So they all love that we have that quiet time built into our schedule. Now for my older kids, quiet time is more of the time that they go do their independent reading. But for my younger ones, it's always a time that they just go and have a little space to cool down in the afternoon, to work on Legos or any sort of quiet toys and just be alone, because we're a large family and I want to help them prioritize that mental rest for a minute, so they're not being talked to, touched, and instructed 24/7. So that's just a time that I built into our schedule way back in the day that we still do today. Number 6 of my habits for a happy homeschool is a rhythm, start and finish markers. And for me, it's what I consider to be opening and closing our schoolhouse, so to speak. So if you start with reading, or you start with a morning basket, or you start with singing a specific psalm or a song or hymn, or reading specific psalms, or whatever it is, those are the things that mark the opening of your homeschool day. And then the same thing for closing. We do usually some read aloud and then our chores, and that usually closes our school day. That's when I throw our afternoon snack out, and it's just kind of like a mental note of like we're moving into the rest of our day. Having that rhythm has been really helpful for us over the years, and it just helps everyone know kind of where we're at in the day. Number 7, I have get your hair wet, and that's the phrase I use when it just means having fun with your kids. So for me, we live in Florida, and so I'm always like, guys, don't splash me, I don't want to get my hair wet. So when I actually go in the pool or actually jump in the waves with them at the beach, they'll be like, Mom got her hair wet, and that's the sign to them that I'm engaging with them and having fun. And so get your hair wet in your homeschool. This is something that I've always really felt has made a difference in our homeschool, and that's when I paint with them, do watercolor lessons with them, when I share in making a craft with them, when I'm laughing along with them during our read aloud, or if we're listening to an Audible book, or if we're listening to our Story of the World chapter, I'm listening with them, I'm engaged with them. I share when we do narrations, I give my own narrations, I'm a part of it. One thing that they all mentioned was the folk songs. They said they're equally as cringy as they are fun. We do folk songs in our homeschool, and I jump in with them, and I'm slapping my knee and I'm singing and we're laughing and I'm messing up with it. And most of the time my mistakes in the song become the family joke. Like folk songs specifically, what is it called, like a spoonerism, where you mess your words up. That's where I mess them up the most. And so sometimes the folk songs, they'll like, what's it called? They'll all mess with me and they'll sing it the way that I messed it up, and it's really funny. And so that's some of our favorite memories, is when I jumped in and I had fun. The tendency for me would be to like put the read aloud on, or the story on disc on or whatever, and walk away and do something. But engaging with them, getting my hair wet, so to speak, it makes a big difference. Next is Bible time, incorporated into the start of our school day. That has been a big help. I love that not only have I started my day with scripture before they woke up, but they also had the chance to have some time in the Word before we start our school day. So it's like the very first thing on the agenda after breakfast is giving them the time for that, and then we all start our day on the same foundation. Also having it built into our schedule is really helpful because if I missed my morning time, depending on whether my toddler slept, whether, you know, I had some extra housework to do, whatever, then it's also built in the schedule for me as well. Next, I have keeping my home and homeschool discipline separate and keeping our routine separate. So this was one that meant more to me at the beginning of our homeschooling journey than it does now, because we're pretty much beyond this point as far as our school routine goes. But our discipline, which I know can be like a bad word and I don't mean it in a negative way, but if they don't finish work at the table, or they don't have the world's best attitude during school, we have ways to deal with that during the school day that are separate from obedience issues, if that makes sense. I want to give my kids, I want to honor the fact that they are in a time that can be more stressful than it is for me. They are learning things, they're trying to understand things, they're trying to learn how to do things. They're in a bit of a higher pressure situation than it is when I'm just asking them to do the dishes and they're refusing to do their chore. So because of that, I have ways that I handle that. For example, they have the treasure box at the end of the week if they finish their work. If they're not finishing their work day in and day out, I don't make it an obedience issue and implement the same sort of discipline we would at home for disobeying. That would be more of a natural consequence within our homeschool of not getting to the treasure box that week, or giving them the grace and even just having a different set of standards as far as that goes with school helps me take a breath and recognize if they're overwhelmed, or if this is disobedience, or if this is stress or anxiety or concern. And so having a different set of standards as far as that goes was one of the most helpful things when we first started homeschooling, keeping my relationship with my kids really good. And to go along with that, I have also written down keeping the routine separate. I want them to have a good rhythm to their lives, and I don't want them to get too mixed up with like my own personal life. It all blends together. Home and homeschool all blends together. But when my kids are in the middle of focusing on math or like a logic exam, I don't want to then throw in the mix, hey, go unload the dishwasher, hey, go switch the laundry. Could they? Yes. And if I asked them to, they would. But my personal standard would be that we keep that kind of separate, and so I respect that little bubble of learning that they're in, so to speak. And going along kind of with that, keeping the home and homeschool discipline separate, I also put a little asterisk, share the good and give them hugs. So be as extra lovey-dovey on them as possible, and just remember that they're learning so much. We have a family group chat called Pick of the Day. It's got my mom's sisters in it too. After she passed away, we created this family group chat where we send a picture every day, everybody in it does. And it's just to celebrate the kids and what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, because my mom always kept up with her sisters, what was going on with the kids. And so as often as possible, I will put a picture in there of the kids doing their schoolwork or their accomplishments. Like just yesterday, Bella temporarily made co-captain of her cheer squad because the captain recently broke her foot. And it's temporary. It's a, you know, a 6-week little stint as the co-captain, but as an underclassman, I'm really proud of her for doing that. So I threw a picture in. I'm proud of her for being recognized by her coach as somebody who could fill that role. And so I sent that to the Pick of the Day chat, like, oh my goodness, just lavishing all this praise on her. Everyone in the chat is, you know, good job, Bella, we're so proud of you and your character, da 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 da. And that's just something that I really like to keep doing during the school day, is to say good things. Text their dad good things all day long, all their accomplishments during school, just to really go that extra mile. Okay, next, special spaces. This is something that I know my kids look forward to. My bed is a very special space for them to go do their schoolwork. If I can see that they're really overwhelmed and I go to them and say, hey, would you like to work on this in mom's bed? It's like, that's like a very comforting space for them. It's not typically open to them to do schoolwork during the day. the coffee shop for my older two. If they are really having a hard time working through something, we'll save it for the coffee shop, and on a Friday I will take just them to the coffee shop and work with them. And then one of my kids mentioned the mango tree. That's a special space where they want to go outside sometimes and sit under the mango tree and do their schoolwork. And then I have a little bonus special habit, and this is only for parents of older kids. This is something that's specific to my big kids, and that is balancing the flexibility and independence with some non-negotiables. And so what I mean by that is, and what they meant when they brought that up, is they like that I give them charts at the beginning of the week, or checklists at the beginning of the week, of things that they can get done on their own, so they can use their time wisely and work and what they said, like work ahead, so they can be done, you know, before I get to it, kind of thing. A couple of my kids really like getting their schoolwork done early in the morning before we even start school time, like their independent work. They like being able to then spend more time reading or more time practicing music or whatever. So they like that they have that opportunity, but then we also balance that out with some things that we do together, like their science projects are always done together with me so that I can see it. Any of their like tests or exams are done with me, so they're not gonna kind of on this runaway train of independent work that I never get to see or get to be a part of. So they both really loved that they get the opportunity to do things on their own time, and that they have time set aside specifically to do things with me. So those are my 10 habits of a happy homeschool, things that make me happy and my kids happy and keep us focused, content, and connected in our homeschool. I hope that this is inspiring to any of you guys who are just looking to implement something, or who just wanted to pinpoint what things are or aren't working in your own homeschool. Thank you so much, Night Zookeeper, for partnering with me on today's video. Make sure you guys check that out in the description box down below, and I will see you soon. Bye.